You're listening to the Youngpreneurs Podcast, the #1 resource online for under 35-year-olds, where we chat twice a week to the most inspiring entrepreneurs in the world. We have it all. If you're looking for inspiration, guidance, or actionable tips to help you transition from that job into a business, or if you're ready to take that business to a whole new level, then this is the place to be. Get ready to live life on your own terms.
Youngpreneurs Podcast, episode number 139 with your host, Victor Ahipene. What is up, world? Another day, another podcast, and today we're going deep. We're going deep into where I've been, what I've been doing, and how I haven't been consistent enough for you and for myself. And to start it off with with what was going to be just a positive thing about something that I've been doing well in my life, but when I kind of delved a bit deeper, it wasn't congruent all the way through. So I want to delve into that and not so much apologize, but give you a bit of an insight on where you can be missing your own blind spots, and that's through non-negotiables. So if you enjoy the podcast, if you're just joining us for the first time and you found this through a friend, then thank you. Jump over to iTunes or your podcast player, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, as you'll find out we've got a lot of cool interviews coming up. On the flip side, if you want to hear all our past interviews plus some free training that we put together just for you, go to passiveincomeyoung.com and you can find all the past back catalogue as well as lots of cool other things that are continually being updated. So, what do I mean by a non-negotiable? So, recently I made a non-negotiable. It was at Christmas time. I made a non-negotiable that I was going to do 10,000 steps per day, and that was to help improve my health, help get me more active, particularly when I'm doing a lot of online work and you're sitting behind a computer and you're not moving enough. So I made it 10,000 steps, and then I was kind of achieving that, and I thought, well, just like anything to grow, you need to challenge yourself. So I made it 13,000 steps in a day. That was my goal. And I had to make it a non-negotiable. I had to make it something, my health is important to me, being active is being important to me, and there was a lot of cool flow-on effects from that. But what I needed to do was really commit and make it a non-negotiable. And a lot of people kind of think of habit change or introduction of new things as something that is difficult, but I saw a cool video with Eric Thomas. He's kind of a motivator and inspirer, and he was on Dr. Phil or something, and one of the girls in the audience, you may have seen this video, but one of the girls in the audience said, look, I really find it hard to get inspiration and to get motivation. How do I get that? And he's like, you don't. He basically said, you don't. You just have to decide how important it is to you, and then just make it something that you don't negotiate on. If you have to get up at 6 o'clock to turn up to your 9 to 5 job, you get up at 6 o'clock because you know the repercussions are you'll get fired, or you'll get disciplined, or you'll get frowned upon. And the same sort of thing happens. If you have to catch a flight, you can't be there an hour late. They don't hold the plane for you. So there's certain things in life that we just automatically have as non-negotiables. But when we're trying to do, changes in our life, whether that be jumping into entrepreneurship, leveling up, weight loss, improve our relationships, we often semi-commit to a lot of these things. And my message was initially basically add something into your day that is just an absolute non-negotiable that's going to improve. And I mean, I've found all these other areas of my life that have taken massive improvements. So I go out for my walk and I also chuck on some sort of audio, whether it be a podcast, a training course, an audio book. And it usually involves me having a couple of hours of walking a day where I can listen to something that's going to improve me, not only from a fitness point of view, but also improves me from a business, from a mindset, from just a learning point of view that's not necessarily completely work. And this has been really powerful because I saw another video and it had Warren Buffett, who's one of the world's richest men, world's most successful investors, and he said, yeah, this is my most important book. Do you want to have a look at it? And it was his daily planner. And it was empty for every single day. And he said, if it was any more busy than this, I'd be in trouble. And basically, what he does is he spends a hell of a lot of time learning. He reads a lot of books. He reads a lot of information about companies in the search to find, that one company every 3 to 6 months that turn out to be a gem that makes him and his investors, hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's worth it for him to not be taking a million meetings and not be doing 100 different things to be able to have this non-negotiable of, I don't give out my time. He basically talks about how important your time was. So with this non-negotiable, when I'm out there listening to trainings and whatever, or sometimes I'll just go out there and I'll be mindful and I go, cool, I'm away from technology. I can just go out and have a walk and look at what's going on in the world and be present for a period of time. And all of those things I found really, really valuable. But that was kind of where the show was going to end until I was actually on one of my walks and I was like, look, I have been so terrible to you guys this year, and my consistency. And I mean, I run a podcast training program, so I've got to call myself out on this, that it's not the systems that were tiring me down, it was where I was prioritizing everything in the mix. And I haven't been putting out consistent episodes. I haven't had the time to follow up to get awesome guests for you, which, don't worry, all those things are now in process. But it's been something that I have a lot of the time when you're falling short on things, you can't use excuses of I didn't have enough time, because everyone's got the same amount of time, and I've talked about this time and time again. And what was the problem was I wasn't prioritizing it high enough. I was focusing on other productive things, but I wasn't putting the time aside to be able to put out great content for all of you out here on this podcast. So that's what I will be doing over the coming weeks, is getting back into the flow, and it's going to be a non-negotiable situation where I'm going to be having shows out for you every week from now until the foreseeable future. I'm going away next week, so it's going to allow me to revitalize and refocus. But this is we're kind of a quarter into the year, so have a look back and go, what have you changed and what haven't you? How did those New Year's resolutions, if you make them, how are they going? What can you do to change them? And where can you, as a person, add in a non-negotiable that is going to improve one aspect of your life? Because if you do add one non-negotiable, we've all got non-negotiables. We drink water, we eat food, we sleep. Those are all non-negotiables that we somehow fit into our ultra busy lives. If you can start fitting in something that improves your health, your wealth, your relationships, your happiness, whatever it may be, add in one of those non-negotiables and watch that there's a flow-on effect. So if you can add in one non-negotiable every quarter of this year, you're going to add in for this year, you're going to add in another 3 things that you're going to be doing on a regular basis that's going to build traction. So you've got to start with action, because that creates traction. That creates attraction. So you might start growing with that, and then depending on what it is, that'll lead to transactions or efficiencies or more time. You go for your walks and you may have more time to do other things that are leisurely, or you may make it that every morning you journal or you record an audio or whatever it may be, and all of these things start building. But my suggestion, having been a physiotherapist for years and giving people, trying to give people 5 different exercises in one go, is don't overwhelm yourself. Start with one thing and build into that. Get that right. Get some wins under the belt. But make sure there's you're keeping yourself accountable. Don't say, I've got this new non-negotiable. Talk about what's going to happen if you don't achieve it in those days. Are you going to do more the next day? Are you going to punish yourself by donating to a charity that you hate, or something that there is a real stake in the claim that you're going to make it a non-negotiable. It's not just something that's a semi-negotiable that I don't feel like it today. So that is where I've been. We're going to have an interview for you next week, so I'm super excited about getting back into the flow of things there, and I hope you are too. Share this out with your friends. Make sure you check out www.passiveincomeyoung.com, where you can catch all the past episodes, and there's some awesome free training. So in the meantime, guys, keep living life on your own terms.
Thanks for listening to the Youngpreneurs Podcast. This was proudly brought to you by the Podcast Institute, the #1 training resource to take your business from chasing leads to leads chasing you, and from an absolute amateur to a full-blown authority. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, then a podcast is the obvious answer. You can get national and global exposure in a very fast time, and it's just exactly what I've done with this podcast. So if you want to find out more, get a checklist on how you can get started for under $60, and to find out more through a small training video that I've prepared for you all, then please check out passiveincomeyoung.com/podcast training.